Hey, TikTok, Leilani with the Magical Solution here. So thank you so much for the questions and comments that I received in my DMs regarding my last post about, spiritual advocacy, spirit-centered, coaching, spirit first language, all of that stuff that I'm talking about obviously comes from my mental health education background. That's language that we use in the psychology field, and so that application, that language, I applied it to, how we interact with spirits, because I feel that there's a lot of commonality, like when we talk about psychology, psychotherapy, we're talking about the holistic person, not just the mind. We're talking about how the mind and emotions affect behavior, and how behavior can retroactively, in a sense, metaphorically speaking, alter mind and emotions as well. But one of the things that we tend not to factor in is a person's spiritual beliefs, right? Now, granted, don't get me wrong, there are new and upcoming therapies that have been going on since about 2010 that is a little bit more holistic than all the other types of therapies. And let's not forget that therapists who have clients can, in their own individual practice, incorporate spiritual conversation, which is why when I have students, I encourage them to get therapists that are privy to spiritual language and who are understanding and incorporating of the spiritual experiences of a human being. But overall, from a overall field perspective, spirituality is not really factored in. And so I'm applying it to the spiritual community because I feel like, again, this needs to be a more holistic conversation. But that's just dealing with us in the mundane world. This application, this interaction can also be applied to spirit interaction. So let me give you an example. One of the things that I'm known for in my community is that I interact, better yet, and help to elevate and move on spirits who in life had mental health issues and in death still believe that they have mental health issues, right? And so part of my job as an espiritista and as a medium spiritualist who works with these spirits is to therapy them, basically, have conversation with them and work with them in a therapeutic manner to help them to realize that they are disembodied and therefore they do not carry the mental health issues that they carried in life. And for a lot of spirits, that is a very difficult thing to accept because the mind and the emotions is so deeply integrated into our spiritual anatomy, and it affects it so deeply, and it leaves trauma and it leaves memory in the spirit body. So that right there is, technically, espiritistas and those who know, you are kind of like a therapist sometimes to these spirits. Same thing with animasolas, same thing with, spirits that are quote unquote in purgatory or who are bound or trapped or whatever. It's usually because there is a misunderstanding or a belief that is weighing them down and tying them to the material. And once they are relieved of that belief or misunderstanding or whatever, they can then begin the process of moving on and elevating, right? Same thing with our ancestors, again, not all of our ancestors are good people. And so, when you take on the work to work with your ancestors, part of that work is to elevate the ones who are still tied to their materialistic behaviors. So if they were alcoholics when they were alive, if they were abusers when they were alive, if they were, whatever the case may be, those behaviors, those feelings, and the thoughts that they have about themselves are still lingering and can still bind a spirit. So all of this to say that our work as spiritualists need to go beyond, I want to see spirits, and I want to do ghost hunting, and I want to do, that's all cute, I want to do mediumship, I want to give people readings. That's cute, that's great, and if that's where you want to take it, by all means. But when we are talking about walking this path of elevation for yourself, and taking it a step further and saying that you want to be of service to spirits, and that includes incarnated spirits and disincarnated spirits, then you have to acknowledge the fact that this is a holistic process, and that spirit-centered, spirit advocacy, spirit-first language needs to be a part of your repertoire of understanding and experience. What else? What else did I want to say about this? I also need to make it really clear that, when you are doing this work, it isn't about the outcome you want. And I think that's another thing that needs to be, really understood. It's not about the outcome that you want. Yes, your ultimate goal is that they move on, they get elevated, right? That's the ultimate goal. But the outcome, what happens as you go through these processes with these spirits, is not going to look the way you want it to look every single time. All right, you're not going to be batting 100 every single time. Again, working in this mental health field here in the physical 3D material world, teaching someone to tie their shoe could take years. Teaching someone to cope and regulate with their emotions can take years. So what makes you think that working with spirit is going to be faster and instantaneous, right? It's not. Don't get me wrong, they are going to release a lot of the trappings of the materialism that we exist in, and that will assist you in working with them, absolutely. But it's still going to be work, it's still going to take time, and their elevation, their understanding is still going to be, exponential, right? It's still gonna take time and progress. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, again, if you have any more questions, if you're curious about certain pieces of this work, make a video, leave me a comment, drop me a DM, write me an email, or visit my website, www.themagicalsolution.com. I would love to hear from you. And again, my name is Leilani. This is The Magical Solution, and this is how we grow.